It feels like AI is changing every single day, doesn't it? Like just yesterday, we were wrapping our heads around ChatGPT and how it can actually, hold a conversation.
hmm
And now, bam, OpenAI comes out with this whole new thing, ChatGPT Canvas.
Yeah, it's really incredible the pace of innovation. And I think this is more than just an update, right? This ChatGPT Canvas feels like a totally different way of working with AI. It's not just asking a question and getting an answer.
No, it's like they're pushing towards actual collaboration with AI now.
Exactly.
So, okay, for anyone who hasn't heard all the buzz yet, imagine you're working on a project, but instead of ChatGPT being stuck in that little chat window, it's like there's this whole space beside it where you and the AI are working together visually.
And that's what's so key here, right? That visual element. I mean, think about how we work with other people.
Mm.
We sketch things out, we mark up documents, we point at lines of code.
Mhm.
Canvas is bringing that same kind of visual, intuitive interaction to how we work with AI.
It's almost like having a brainstorming buddy who also happens to be this like AI powerhouse.
Absolutely.
Now, full disclosure, not everyone has access to this just yet. I think they're rolling it out to ChatGPT Plus and team users first, and then, eventually everyone else will get it.
Which makes sense.
Right.
You want to get it right, iron out the kinks before you release it to the world. And I think that speaks to their commitment to actually making a good user experience.
Oh, for sure. So, okay, let's say you are lucky enough to be testing out Canvas right now. What can you actually do with this thing? Let's start with something everyone can relate to. Writing. I mean, who couldn't use a little AI help with their writing?
Right. I think it's even more than just help. It's like having a partner in the writing process. Like imagine you're stuck on a sentence or you're just trying to get the tone right, and Canvas is right there making suggestions. And not just for grammar, but for style, for clarity, even for like the emotional impact.
So it's not just your average grammar checker. It's like having an AI co-writer who also happens to be an amazing editor.
Exactly.
You can even have it tweak the length of something or like help you refine your arguments.
Yeah, and even things like adding emojis to change the tone.
Oh, wow. So it really does cover a lot of ground.
It does. And I think this is where it gets really interesting because it addresses these fundamental challenges that people have with writing. Like, think about writer's block staring at a blank page. With this, you always have someone or something to bounce ideas off of, to help you get started, to make your writing better.
That's huge for anyone who writes anything, really, from novels to like work emails.
Absolutely.
But okay, let's say writing isn't really your thing. What about for the coders out there? Does Canvas do anything for them?
Oh, absolutely. In fact, I think this is where it gets even more interesting.
Okay, now I'm really intrigued. Tell me more.
So, you know how you might be like debugging a really complex piece of code and you're just staring at lines of text trying to find that one little error?
Yeah, I've been there.
Well, imagine Canvas being able to like visually highlight potential issues in the code, suggest fixes, even explain its reasoning.
That would be a game changer for sure, especially because with coding, it's not just about getting the right answer. You really need to understand why it's right.
Exactly.
And that can be tough, trusting AI with something as important as code. You really need that transparency to build that trust.
And I think that's what Canvas is going for, that transparency. It has features specifically for coders, like this fix bugs feature. You basically just feed Canvas your buggy code.
Hmm.
It analyzes it, figures out what's wrong, and then suggests actual rewritten sections of code to fix the problem.
Wow, that sounds incredibly useful.
It really does streamline the process.
So what else can it do? Besides, saving coders from tearing their hair out over bugs, what else has Canvas got?
Well, there's this other cool feature, port to a language, which is also a huge time saver. So let's say you've written some code in Python, right? But now you need it in, I don't know, JavaScript. Instead of like manually translating everything yourself, you can actually just ask Canvas to do it for you.
That's amazing. Those are the features that like really get me excited because it's not just a gimmick. It's
Yeah.
actually solving real problems.
Exactly. And to do all of this they had to teach the AI how to collaborate, which is a whole other level of
Yeah,
complexity.
it's like they had to teach it how to be a good partner, not just, how to write a good essay or something.
Yeah, it's a completely different challenge for the AI. Like they had to teach it when to actually open a canvas, right?
Right.
And then how to make these like smaller targeted edits instead of just rewriting the whole thing. Even how to write helpful comments in the code, which we take for granted, but it's not easy to teach a machine that.
Yeah, it's like teaching someone how to give good feedback, but that someone is, a supercomputer.
Exactly, exactly. And it really speaks to just how advanced these training techniques are becoming. Like, they're using things like reinforcement learning, where the AI is basically learning by trial and error and being rewarded when it makes a suggestion that's actually helpful and correct.
Wow.
Uh,
So it's not just a matter of, feeding it more data. It's about teaching it how to learn in a more sophisticated way.
exactly.
Okay. So we've talked about what Canvas is, how it works, but I think the big question here is like, what does this mean in the grand scheme of things? Is this really the future of how we work?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? I mean, on the one hand, you can imagine how much more productive we could be. You're never stuck in writer's block again. You've got your AI writing partner there. You're finding and fixing bugs in your code in record time.
Right. It's like having a whole team of super efficient assistants at your fingertips.
Exactly.
But then there's the other side of the coin, right? Like, what happens to our own skills if we're constantly relying on the machine to do the work for us?
Yeah, it's like using GPS to go everywhere, even just down the street. You might get there faster, but you never learn your way around.
I see what you mean. So, is the real skill we need to develop not writing or coding, but like prompt engineering,
Mhm.
learning how to talk to the AI in the right way to get the best results?
I think prompt engineering is definitely important, but I think it actually goes even deeper than that. As AI gets better at all of these technical skills, writing, coding, whatever it may be, I think what becomes really valuable are the things that make us uniquely human.
Like what?
Things like creativity, critical thinking, empathy,
Oh, okay.
things that AI, at least for now, can't replicate.
Yeah.
So I think the question is, how do we double down on those uniquely human strengths as AI becomes more capable?
Okay, yeah, that's a really interesting way to think about it. So it's not just about, learning how to use the tools, but figuring out what our role is in this new landscape. Wow. So it sounds like ChatGPT Canvas is more than just some shiny new tech toy. It's potentially a glimpse into a future where the way we work and what it even means to work is going to be fundamentally different.
Absolutely. And that's why I think it's so important to be having these conversations now, even though it's still early days. These are the conversations that are going to shape that future.
As always, it's been a pleasure picking your brain about all of this. It's been a really fascinating deep dive into ChatGPT Canvas.
It's been a pleasure being here.
And to all of our listeners out there, if you get the chance to test out ChatGPT Canvas, I highly recommend it. It's something else. This is the deep dive. Signing off. Stay curious, everyone.